Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving into a really fundamental shift in how we think about data. We're going to go from the old world of rigid tables to the, honestly, super intuitive power of graphs. We're here to see why the connections in your data often matter way more than the data points themselves.
So it all kicks off with this question, and I bet this has frustrated a ton of you at some point. You can literally look at your own data and you can see the patterns, right? You see the customer journeys, you can spot the fraud rings, but then you ask your database to find the exact same thing and it just slows to a crawl. Or worse, it just can't do it. So what is going on? Why is there this massive disconnect?
And this right here, this is the whole story in one picture. On the left, that's the old way. It's this tangled web of tables and joins and keys. It's a mess, right? It's confusing. But then you look to the right, and that's the new way. It's just a simple, clean map. Alice reports to Bob. Bob sold order 23. It's as easy to understand as sketching it out on a whiteboard.
All right, so to really get why this new way is such a big deal, we've got to dig into why the old way is struggling so much. Let's talk about the connection problem. You know, the relational database was an absolutely brilliant invention for its time, but that's the key. For its time. It was designed to digitize things like paper forms, neat rows and columns. It was never, ever built to handle the complex, messy, interconnected world we live in today. For decades, we've basically been trying to jam a round peg into a square hole. So what is the actual problem? Well, it boils down to this one technical bottleneck, and it's called a join. The best way to think about it is, imagine your customer data is in one giant binder, and your order data is in another binder on a different shelf. A join is the painful, manual process of running back and forth, cross-referencing between the two. Now, what if you need to connect that to products, which are in a third binder? You have to do it all over again. It's just a ton of work.
And here is the real kicker. As this quote points out, once you start needing more than just a couple of these joins, maybe 3, 4, or 5 deep, the performance just falls off a cliff. The database grinds to a halt. And when they say prohibitively expensive, they mean your app becomes unusably slow. Finding those deep, interesting connections becomes, well, basically impossible.
But what if we didn't have to do that? What if we didn't have to force our connected reality into these rigid boxes? What if we just embraced the connections from the very beginning? Well, that's the new paradigm, thinking in graphs. And at its heart, it's so simple. You've got nodes, which are just things. They're people, products, companies, whatever. And then you have relationships, and those are the direct named connections between them. Just think of it like a map. The nodes are the cities, and the relationships are the roads. That's it. It's visual, it's simple, and it's how we naturally think about the world. And this is the big mind shift right here. In a regular database, those relationships are calculated on the fly, every single time with those expensive joins. But in a graph, the relationship, that line connecting two dots, is physically stored as a piece of data. It's just as important as the nodes themselves. It is not an afterthought. It is fundamental to the entire model. Okay, let's see what this looks like in the real world. On the left, if you want to find out who bought the product chocolate, you have to write this big, complex 4-table join in SQL. It's a headache to write and even harder to read. Now, just look at the right. That's the graph query language, Cypher. It's beautiful. You're literally just drawing the pattern you're looking for with text. You can read it like a sentence. Find me a customer who purchased an order which orders a product. It's pattern matching, not a complex calculation. It's readable, it's elegant, and it is unbelievably fast.
Okay, so that's the theory, but what does this actually let you do in the real world? Well, this is where graphs get what I like to call their superpowers.
Let's start with a really big one, fraud detection. You know that text you get from your bank? Did you just spend $50 at this store? Well, behind the most sophisticated of those systems, there's very often a graphed database working its magic.
Just take a look at this. If this data were in a table, it would just be a long list of transactions. Pretty hard to spot anything wrong. But the second you visualize it as a graph, the fraud ring becomes blindingly obvious. See that? That one IP address at the top connecting to a whole bunch of different credit cards, and those cards are linked to different people? This super dense cluster of connections is a massive red flag that a relational database would completely miss in real time.
So to sum it up, graphs are a total game changer for fraud. They can spot these complex patterns and rings almost instantly, and that means they can prevent the fraud as it's happening, not just run a report about it the next day.
And because the model is so flexible, they can adapt on the fly as criminals get smarter and invent new schemes. All right, superpower number 2 is something we all see every single day. I'm talking about those eerily accurate recommendations you get from places like Amazon or Netflix. So how do they work? Well, recommendation engines connect you to things you've bought, to other people who bought the same thing, to other things they bought. A graph database can race through these connections, from customer to product, to other customers, to other products, in just milliseconds. It's like playing a super fast game of connect the dots to predict what you're going to want next. And hey, don't just take my word for it. When eBay implemented a graph solution for a really complex delivery service, they found it was, and this is a direct quote, literally thousands of times faster than their old MySQL system. That isn't just a small improvement. That's a total transformation that lets you build things you couldn't even dream of before. Now let's connect all of this to the single biggest thing happening in tech today: artificial intelligence. Because it turns out, for AI to get truly smart, it desperately needs to understand relationships. So you've probably heard of large language models like ChatGPT. A huge challenge with them is that they can sometimes make things up. They hallucinate. A key technique to fix this is called RAG. The simple version is, instead of just making up an answer, the AI first looks up relevant facts from a private database to ground its answer in reality. It's like giving the AI a library card before it speaks. Now, the standard way to do RAG is with something called vector search, which is great at finding text that sounds similar to your question. But a graph search does something fundamentally different and arguably more powerful. It finds things that are truly connected. It provides structured reasoning. It doesn't just give you an answer, it can actually show you how it got there, the path of facts that followed. And this leads us to this incredibly powerful new architecture called GraphRag. As you can see here, it's the best of both worlds. The AI can use that semantic search to get the general gist of a question, but it can also query the knowledge graph, that brain in the center, for hard facts and explicit relationships. This combination gives the AI the context and the reasoning power it needs to make its answers way smarter and way more accurate. Okay, so let's bring this all home. After all of that, what's the big takeaway? What's the core idea in this massive shift from relational databases to graph databases? I think it all comes down to this one powerful idea. For so long, we've been obsessed with just collecting more and more data points, more rows, more tables, but the real gold, the hidden insights, they aren't in the points themselves. They're in the connections between them. That's the whole game. And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We know just intuitively that our world, our friendships, our economies, our biological systems, they're all just complex networks defined by relationships. So the question is, if our entire world is built on relationships, isn't it about time our data was too?